was little and I learned about the extinction of dinosaurs, I thought it was such a far-fetched idea that an animal could live on this earth and then in an instant be gone. So today I'm going to talk to you about the current extinction, or the recent extinction, of the western black rhino. Now first we're going to talk about what the western black rhino was like, where it lived, what it ate, things like that. Second, we're going to talk about the causes of its extinction. And last, we're going to talk about things that are being prevented so other rhinos don't go extinct as well. So let's go ahead and begin and talk about the western black rhino. Now, it was actually declared extinct this past Thursday, November 10th, by the IUCN. Now, the IUCN is the biggest conservation group in the world, and they currently observe about 62,000 species of plants and animals to make sure that they are not going into extinction, or they try to prevent that as much as possible. Now, the western black rhino was once widespread in the savannas of central and western Africa. Now, a survey was done in 2006 in Cameroon. Now, Cameroon was the only habitat left of the western black rhino at that time, and they collected this survey and tried to make sure that they could find some western black rhinos to make sure they were still there. However, they did not find any. Now, since then, other research has been done, and they have been officially declared extinct. Now, the western black rhino is a subspecies of the general black rhino, and so it's not the entire black rhino species that has gone extinct, it's that one subspecies. Now, they are herbivores, so that means they eat plants and fruit and things like that. They did not eat animals. They measured somewhere between 9 and 13 feet long and between 4 and 6 feet high, so this is a huge, huge animal that once walked the earth. Now, they weighed somewhere between 1,800 and 2,900 pounds. That's almost 3,000 pounds of rhino. So, one of the characteristics of rhinos is the two horns that they have on their noses. The western black rhino's horns are huge. One of them can be between 1 and 4 feet long, and the other one can be up to 2 feet long. Now, these horns are made of pure keratin. It's the same thing that our fingernails are made of, but unlike other species like elephants or things like that that have horns as well, for elephants, for example, the keratin is only in the middle, and the rhinos, the keratin is the entire horn. Now, these horns were used for various things like defense, intimidation, and for digging when they're trying to find food. Now we're going to go ahead and talk about some of the causes of the western black rhino's extinction. Now, the main cause of their extinction was poaching. These animals were poached into extinction for their two very large horns on their head. Now, to the poachers, these horns were seen as a trophy, and they also used it in very traditional medicine. They would give them to shamans in villages and things like that, and they would use them to heal. Now, that doesn't mean this is correct, but that's what they did. Now, there is an increasing demand for these rhino horns and other forms of illegal poaching as well. It's not just a small industry. This poaching has become almost a commercial industry. It's something that many hundreds of people are doing. It's not just a small group of people that are doing this, it's large, large amounts of people. Now, there is a huge market for these illegal poaching items like these rhino horns in China, more specifically, and other parts of Asia. So people will pay very, very large sums of money in these areas for these horns. Now, another reason why they have gone into extinction is because there's limited anti-poaching efforts. So there are very few people that are trying to do something about the poaching of these rhinos, and if they are doing something, it's very small, it's not very substantial. Now, the NPR actually discussed this, that in 2000 there was a major poaching incident, and only 10 western black rhinos were left or found to still be alive after this huge poaching incident. So when the release of the western black rhino's extinction was made, the NPR was actually talking about this topic. So sometime between 2000 and 2006, those animals apparently died. Now we're going to go ahead and talk about some things that people are doing to prevent other species of rhinos from becoming extinct. Now, there's two other species specifically that are almost extinct. One is the northern white rhino, and the other is the Java rhino. Now, the northern white rhino lives in Africa as well, but the Java rhino did live in Indonesia, but right now it's only specifically in the island of Java. So many things are being done to prevent their extinction as well. Some of these things are they're trying to conserve their habitats. So for example, like the polar bear, they're almost going into extinction. They're very endangered because their habitats are no longer livable. They can't be where they used to be and have the same lives that they could. So some of the things that these conservationists are doing is making sure the rhinos' habitats are still okay. Now, other things that they can be doing is relocating these rhinos to safer homes. This photo is actually of a rhino being airlifted from a helicopter to an area of very high poaching to somewhere that's a little more safer. Now, other things that can be done, they can place these animals into captivity, so place them in zoos. Now, there were no western black rhinos placed into a zoo, so that's why they have become extinct. So this is something that was not done for this species, but it can be done for others. Now, when they're in captivity, these animals can be breeded to ensure that their species is continuing and they won't become extinct. So, I want to thank you for listening to my speech today. I hope that you realize that we are a part of, us and the rhinos, we live on the same planet, so we need to take our part and make sure that we are being conservative and not doing things to keep these animals extinct. We need to make sure that we realize that there are animals living with us on this earth and we need to do something to make sure that they'll be okay. So thank you for listening.